So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So once again, welcome to Windows Server Administration Training. I hope I'm audible and it's been loud and clear to everyone. And I have shared the whiteboard as well. If yes, you can give a confirmation through the chat option. Happy Saturday to everyone. So we supposed to take this session yesterday, and due to some emergency, we've been rescheduled to today. Uh, Thank you, Darius. It's feeling better today. Yeah, still on medication, but feel better. It between you may see I'm taking some coughing and also, but feeling better than compared to last 2 days. Yeah, let's start the session. So last day we've been concluded session with a concept called dynamic host configuration protocol. So this is one of the important services. As an administrator, we used to use it in a infrastructure. All of us we understood the difference between a manual IP address, and we understood the importance of a automatic IP address method also. So technically we found, or practically we found, as an administrator for us, DHCP is the one of the best service because we have been considered a scenario. We are working for a project where we've been assigned for assigning a project of IP address manually. It's going to be a high-tech task for us. So that's the reason we started using a concept of DHCP, dynamic host configuration protocol. So with the help of that, we are able to assign the IP address automatically. A couple of points we have been learned last day. One is be like IP address is being assigned automatic. Second one, IP address is being assigned with the help of a pool, basically that is known as scope. Scope is something like a pool kind of thing. So if any computer is being requesting an IP address, that process is being known as a DORA. Uh, the process is known as DORA. Can you comment it on in the chat? What is the expansion of a DORA? What is the packet is generally used? Let me do an assessment in training assessment. So we were discussing about a concept of DORA concept. Can you comment it on in the chat? What is the mean? Yes, discover. Yes, thank you, Savan. Discover, offer, request, and acknowledgement. And the entire process generally it's been known as lease generation process, right? The process is basically knowing as a lease generation process. Then we understood another concept is called lease duration also. What do you mean lease duration? What is the default time on any lease duration here? Can you comment it on in the chat? What was the default lease duration in a Windows Server operating system? 8 days, not 8 hours, Abu. 8 days is the normal time. In case if you want, you can able to reconfigure it. By default, the system is been showing as 8 days. Depends upon the customer requirements or a scenario. We have a flexibility to reschedule, or we have the flexibility to modify the lease duration also. Then we have learned about another concept called inside a scope also. For example, like I'm a user. I need to reserve a IP address for a particular user that basically knowing as reservation, right? There's something like you are booking a flight ticket or a train ticket, right? Similar way you are reserving an IP address for a device. It's not a Windows computer, or it's not a Linux or a Unix computer alone. This can be any device, but we learned one point there. If in case if you want to reserve an IP address, what is the mandatory information we need? Can you comment it on in the chat? In case if you're working as a DHCP server administrator, and if you want to reserve an IP address, What is the mandatory information you want? Can you comment it on in the chat? This is self-evaluation for you, not for me. This is for a self-evaluation for yourself. Yes. So right, Michael and Suman, in case if you want to configure a reservation, MAC address has been mandatory one. Then we have been learned about another concept called exclusion range. What is exclusion range? Exclusion range means that there are some situations uh, MAC address details is been not available, and in case if you want to reserve some set of IP address from a distribution that has been configured with the help of a concept called exclusion. So we can able to block a particular set of IP address from a distribution that basically known as exclusion range. Then we heard about another topic called DHCP options also. DHCP options means that at any point of time, along with your IP address and subnet mask, if any additional information, if you want to push to the customer or to the client, that basically configured with the help of a DHCP option. DHCP option is being generally configured in three level. One is called in a reservation level. Second one is been like a scope level, and you have a third one it's been available in a server option level also. And we have seen about taking a backup of DHCP also. So these are the few important point we have discussed in a on-premises scenario. Let me pause it here in case if you have any question on the DHCP which have been covered on in a on-premises scenario here. How IP address is being distributed, how this has been manually managed or it's been done a governance on in a server side also. Any question from anyone? Are we good? If yes, requesting you to confirm through the chat option. If you're good, we'll move to the cloud scenario also. I know you may be having a couple of questions on in a cloud. Right now, we have seen DHCP is being configured on in a on-prem, but right now the market is being changed or IT infrastructure is being changed. We are moving on into a cloud scenario. So in case if you are using a cloud, how are we going to use DHCP? Because you're going to be manage a hybrid infrastructure in the customer place. Any questions? Okay, so we are getting some positive comments on the chat. Okay, okay. Now, when it is coming on in a cloud side, concept is been going to be a little different here. So if you're taking okay, so right now, if you take a on-premises scenario, so right now, if you can able to see the screen, how the client is getting an IP address, you have a DHCP service is been running on in a server, and this got a scope also, and this is getting 10.0.1 respective IP address based on the pool is being configured. But when it is coming on in a cloud, you will not have or you will not be able to use a DHCP service. You may be wondering then, are we going to use a manual IP address method on in a cloud? No. In a cloud scenario, you have an option to configure DHCP, but 99% IP address will be assigned from a using a service called vNet. What is the service we are using there? That basically known as vNet. So right now, if you notice in the on-premises one, uh, we have installed a Windows Server 2019 or a 2022, and inside that you configured a scope. But when it is coming on in a cloud, if you host any operating system, I'm not specifying it's only to a Windows, because Microsoft Cloud Infrastructure has been supporting Unix. It's supporting Microsoft operating system. It's supporting workstations. It's supporting Windows 10 or a Windows 11. So now all these IP address, instead of providing IP address from a DHCP, Microsoft will be using something called as vNet, that basically known as virtual networking. What is that? It's basically known as virtual networking. So basically, your network, it's a network resource which is been available or hosted in a cloud. Now, when it is going on in a other cloud providers, you may be heard about other cloud providers also in the market, like AWS. Similar service you can able to see on in a AWS also. Basically, that is known as VPC. You may be heard about something called virtual private connection. That's called a VPC in AWS. If you go to Google Cloud, similar service you can able to see in a Google Cloud also. That basically knowing as cloud network. So if you take a cloud infrastructure, uh, not only in Azure alone, if you take any cloud infrastructure, rather than hosting a DHCP service on top of a server operating system or a network devices, IP address will be distributed on into the VM or a devices with the help of a vNet service or a VPC service or a cloud network. The way it's been working similar like your scope, how you configured on in a DHCP. How you configured a DHCP, you may be remembering like we have assigned something called a scope, right? Right? You defined a scope. Now, when it is coming on in a VNet, this basically defined with something a different term called address space. The way it's been working, a similar concept only. In a operating system, this has been defined with a term called scope. Is nothing you defined a pool. Similar way, in a cloud or in a VNet side, this has been defined with the help of a address space. Let me show you how this has been working here. So when we had a discussion about IP address, uh, we understood it's been supporting IP version 4 and it's been supporting IP version 6 as well, right? Now, when it is coming on in a cloud scenario, if you take Azure, Azure has been supporting both the versions. It's been supporting IP version 6 and it's supporting IP version 4 also. Now, if you take both the versions, we have learned there is a concept called public IP address and private IP address also. What is the difference between the public IP address and private IP address? Public IP address means that any IP address which is been routable in internet, any IP address which you can able to use in internet, that basically knowing as a public IP address, right? I hope you are agreeing with this point, right? Any IP address which you can able to use in internet, that basically knowing as a public IP address here. Um, Even though your IP address is been started from 0 to 255, we are allowed to use only one set of IP address only in the internet. For example, like if you take a public IP address, you may be remembering like any IP address which has been starting from 1.0.0.02 9.255.255.255. There's one number. Or 11.0.0.2 126.255.255 series, or the number which has been starting from 128.0.0.2 172.15.255.255, or 172 dot 32 dot series to 192.255.255. And class C, if it is coming, it's been coming 192.168 dot no, it's been coming 192.0.2 192.167.255.255 and 192.169.0.0.2 223.255.255.255. These are the set of IP address which you can able to use in internet. So then what is the use of a private IP address? Can you comment it on in the chat? What your understanding? What is a private IP address then? Can you comment it on in the chat? Your view on the private IP address? Yes. So basically, this IP address, which you can able to use in internal network, where you don't need an internet, because you take an office, you have 1,000 computers been available, or the 1,000 computer if you want to communicate each other, that basically you'll be using a private IP address here. So any IP address which has been starting from 10.0.0 to 10.255.255.255, then IP address 172.16.0.2 172.31.255.255 or 192.168.0.0.2 192.168.255.255. So guys, you need to remember these are the three set of IP address which you are going to use it internally. Is it clear now? Now, the next question may be coming on in your mind. Where do I configure this? Right now, Robin is saying like this is a set of IP address which you can able to use in internally. Now, on premises, you understood your scope is been configured with this IP address, right? Now, you're getting a question here. Um, Cloud itself automatically assigning an IP address. Where do I configure this one? This basically configured inside a place called a private IP address. There are 2 points you need to remember here. Private IP address has been completely free. You don't need to pay anything for the private IP address here. But the IP address which you are using to use for your cloud VM or any VM or a device who has been assigned with the public IP address here. Uh, One point you need to remember here, public IP address is not only assigning with a VM alone here, right? Few people may be thinking like IP address is only assigned with a computer. No, when it is coming on in a cloud scenario, your public IP address can be used by different services. You may be heard about one is obviously your virtual machines. Second one is been your load balancers. Third one it's been like any firewall if you're running, or if there is any traffic manager is been running, or If you have any internet based devices or a workstations, if you are running, all are going to use a public IP address on in a cloud scenario. Is not PML on here. So if any internet based device or a workstations, if you are running on in a cloud, that will be using a public IP address here. So end of the session, you need to understand private IP address has been completely free and public IP address has been cost is been involved. Second point, public IP address is been assigned by cloud service provider with the help of IAN, that is Internet Authorization. IAN is the organization we have. They are basically assigned uh, internet IP address. They are globally they are managing this one. That's called IANA. That basically knowing as Internet as a Number Authority. So they have been working with Microsoft, and cloud service provider will be assigning a public IP address to you. Is not manually by you, but the private IP address which you want to use it internally needs to be configured manually by the cloud administrator. Where I will be configuring this, I'll be configuring with a private IP address. Where I'll be configuring inside vNet. Now let's see practically how vNet is being configured. At least right now you got a top view of how this is being working. Uh, at least 3 points here. In case if I need to configure internal IP address, only these three set of IP address only I can able to use it in a cloud. Is that point has been clear? So far, any questions, anyone? If you're good, a request you to confirm, okay, onto the chat. This may be a bit confusing topic. That the reason I'm just trying to help you. So yeah, thank you. Okay, now let's take a scenario here. Let's take a cloud here. We'll take a cloud portal here. We will create a vNet. Then we'll try to add a couple of servers also. Okay, so vNet stands for virtual networking. So let's connect to Microsoft portal here. Give me a second. Let me take a OTP code for connecting the portal. Give me a second. I hope you can able to see a cloud portal window now here. Let me maximize. Let me clear. Let me clear few resource group here because I have a couple of servers are running here. So let me clear that. Just give me a second. Otherwise, you may get confused here. So let me clear this one. Just give me a second. Let me do some housekeeping activities here. Just give me a second. I'm just deleting old servers already has been hosted on my cloud portal. I don't want you guys to get confused. Just give me a second. Deletion is in progress now. You may be able to see on in the notification area. There is a bell icon you can able to see. There is some activities going on there. So we need to wait. So because right now we are going to create a nurtured network here. So let's wait here. Okay. So right now deletion is in progress here. So let's wait. It's in progress now. So hardly it will take 2 or 3 minutes. Okay. Now let me take you into whiteboard now. This parallel this installation is going on here. So currently what we are going to configure here, it's similar like your DHCP. So we are trying to understand a uh, yeah thank you forensic, because this is uh, forensic, this system has been doing that. So we just triggered some action, so we need to wait on in the portal side. That's the reason so we are waiting, because nothing can be done from our, we just given an instruction. So backend all the resource is been clearing on in the account. That's the reason it's taking time. Depends upon the uh, dependent resource we had with that device. It will take time. That's the reason it's been taking 2 or 3 minutes. Generally, used to take 3 to 4 minutes. Now, currently, we are going to configure a vNet here. I'm just comparing with your on-premises also. Okay. Now, let me take a two comparison chart here. One it's been like how you assign IP address on in a on premises. Second one, how you going to configure in a cloud. So why I'm making this comparison here, because uh, going forward, you are going to work in both the scenarios. A few years before, you may be working only in a on premises, but right now, if you go to any organization or any project, you are going to deal with both the infrastructure. You will be handling on premises as well. You will be handling cloud also. That's the reason I'm just trying to make a the old session is been a kind of in a comparative sessions here, because you are going to deal with the both infrastructure here. Now, in case if I need to assign a IP address on a on premises, what is the first action we have done? We have configured a DHCP server, right? All are agreed with that point, right? Now, in a cloud scenario, when it is coming, instead of a DHCP server, you will be configuring something known as vNet. What is the use of a vNet in India? vNet is something like your networking service. What is a networking service? If you take a existing on-premises one, you had a um, hub, switch, router. You have many network devices was available, right? Or were available, right? Now that has been completely moved out, right? And completely it's been moved on in a virtual scenario or a virtual infrastructure that's completely managed by this person. It's called VNet. You don't have any hub or you don't have any switch here. Instead of that, everything is being going to be controlled by virtual network. Now let's see how this can be configured. Yeah, VNet and VLAN difference. VLAN is a small portion of your networking areas. Possible like end of the VNet configuration, I can able to give you a comparison of that areas. So let's try to understand the VNet first. Then we'll go to the VLAN. Otherwise, areas you may get confused. So better let's go VNet first. Then we'll go for the VLAN. Okay. So I don't want all of us to get confused here. So let's try to create a simple VNet here. Now, okay. Now let's create a VNet here. Now, the first point you need to remember here, the IP address which you are going to assign to VNet is going to be the private IP address here. So what is the use of a VNet here? VNet is the uh, service which you are going to use internally for assigning IP address here. That basically knowing as vNet. So vNet is the IP address internally we are going to use for assigning IP address here. Now, how to configure here? You need to go to, there are multiple options you can able to use it here. One option, left side of your cloud panel, you may be able to see one option called virtual network, right? You may be able to see something called a virtual network here, or you can click on the search bar. From here, you can able to select something called virtual network here. So now, if you take here, uh, right now it's not showing any network device here because right now we don't have any network services being enabled here. Now I'm going to create a new one here. So I'm just create a new virtual network. Okay, right now you can able to see the moment when you're planning for creating a virtual network, similar like any other services on in a Azure. You may be seeing like the moment when you planning for creating a VM, we understood like you have a mandatory that we need to provide a subscription. We need to mandatory that we need to provide a resource group or a domain region details, right? Similar way, the moment when you're planning for creating a virtual network, it's mandatory that you need to configure region details. Means you need to clearly define which data center you are defining this network here. In the bottom one, you may be able to see one option is been showing as a mandatory here. Hey, admin, provide me a region details, and you may be able to see one star indication mark here. So the point you need to remember, the moment when you're planning for creating a virtual network, each region needs to have a separate network. Means if you have a multiple data centers, or if you have a multiple region, if you're using an infrastructure, you need to have a multiple vNet to be created. Is that point has been clear? I know you maybe got another question on in your mind now. Then Robin, tell me if I need to connect different regions or a different data center, what is the option we have? For example, like you have a scenario like this. Your application is been running in one data center, and database is in another data center. What is the option of interconnecting there? So that kind of a situation, we will be using a different concept called vNet peering. What is that concept? That's called vNet peering. That means you will be connecting using a peering, right? Right now, you may be in a mobile, you may be doing mobile network peering, right? Like a friends, like when you in college days, for getting a internet in the mobile hotspot, you are making a connection, right? Similar way, you can able to connect to vNet in a data center also. That the concept is basically knowing as vNet peering. We have a separate event is been coming on in a AZ700. That time we'll be having a, detailed discussion about vNet peering, and there are different mode of vNet peering has been available. One is being knowing as a global vNet peering, and we have another concept is being going as a regional vNet peering also. Now, right now we are not diverting to that topic here. So right now, end of this class, you need to understand at any point of time, if you're creating any virtual network on in a cloud, mandatory that you need to have a region details to be provided. Second point, you need to remember each region, you need to have a separate network also to be available. In case if you're using same IP address between two region, there is a chance of a conflict also. So in case if you're merging, if in case if you're not merging, there is no chance of a conflict also here. Let me pause it here a minute here. In case if you have any questions, possible like we can have a discussion right away itself, and we can move to the configuration part. I'm just taking a minute pause here. In case if you have a question, please ask. Otherwise, we can go with the configuration. If you're good, you can put a comment also on the chat, okay? Otherwise, I'll take silence as positive. There are two situations you will not have any uh, um, silence. One is be like nothing you are understanding, or it's been like everything you are understanding. So which one it's been? Uh, I hope you're not. I hope it's not the second one. So I hope your silence is a positive side and not taking it as a negative way, because I have seen both the sides. Okay, that's the reason it's in. Yeah, thank you. Okay, good. Now let's go back to the configuration part here. I hope you can able to see the cloud portal window here. Yeah. Okay, great. Now before that, let me share you one uh, portal link also, in case if anyone is been preparing for an exam, especially clearing any certification exam. You can use this link also for clearing the one that's called examcollection.com. I'm not doing a promotion of this website, okay? Uh, if anyone has been planning to write AZ900 or a 104 or 800 or any vendor exam, you don't need to purchase any dumps. This site you can visit. From here site you can able to, sorry, not exam topics, sorry, site is been wrong. Yeah, second link. Okay, so you can visit examtopics.com. From this site you can able to get all the freedoms. If anyone has been planning for writing any Microsoft or a Google or a AWS certification, refer this website. uh, Almost 90% of the questions are coming from here. So this will be help you to clear the vendor exam. So request you to bookmark the second one. So you don't need to purchase any of them. Refer this website. This will help you to clear the exam. And yeah, it's completely free, Joven. Examtopics.com. You can go to this website and respective code. You can just go to the website link. From there you can able to click on the Microsoft, and from here you can able to download the questions and you can able to practice it, and you can go and write the exam. 95% of the questions generally it's been coming from here, so all of us can just bookmark it. This may be help you to clear the exam. Make sure that you will keep on following this one, because exam patterns are, it's been every bi-weekly, it's been changing. So make sure that you are following or practicing to the latest stuff. Let's come back to the topic here. Right now we were discussing about creation of a virtual network here. I'm just creating a network here. Obviously we need to have a billing details here. So I've been given my billing details here. Group name I'm just given cloud batch. Depends upon the organization name. You may be having different logical container available in your organization. You can able to use that. So I'm just giving cloud batch here. So and each network, when you're going for configuring your organization, make sure that you are giving a meaningful name. The reason it's been like, in case today you're giving my network or a temporary network. Today, you may be the cloud administrator or a network admin or a DHCP admin for your organization. But you think a scenario like after 6 months, you be moved as a team lead, or you be moved as a manager, or you may be moved to a different account. The next person who's supposed to manage this one, he will not be able to understand to which organization or which project this networking is being using, right? So whenever you're working on in any project, make sure that you are giving a meaningful standard practice for your naming conversion. So right now I'm just giving, this is for HR network, and this is I'm creating inside a region called East to West data center. I just created inside East US data center. Now, this is the place very, very important. If you look, I hope all yeah, like some topics, I can see still people are checking the website here. Exam topics. Hold it for a second. After the discussion, I'll take you into that. Don't worry. So focus on this part here. Yeah. Right now, if you can able to see here, uh, you may be able to see a couple of options here. Very, very important, and uh, very mandatory also in the infrastructure here. Right now, you may be able to see something called IP version for address space. Whenever you're configuring this, remember this is something like a DHCP scope window, right? You may be able to see. You can able to see this something like a yeah, similar like your DHCP. When you configure a DHCP here, you provided a scope details, right? Similar way, you need to define a IP address here also. See, I hope you can able to see here. You can able to see, yeah. Uzain, I'll come to that resource group point in the later session. Okay, Don't worry about that. Already it's there on the bucket list. Don't worry about that. Right now, you can able to see here. When you configure a DHCP scope, you define the range of IP address, right? Similar way here also, you give me a second.
Hey everyone, so I think the trainer is having some issues, some technical issues at the moment. He should be coming back in shortly. Let's give him 5 minutes so that he can correct the technical issue and come back. In the meantime, if any of you have missed to fill the attendance form, please do fill it. Uh, Let me share it once again if you are not able to find it. I have shared the playlist of the session, which is contains all the trainings. You can have it in one place. And okay, day one and day five. Okay, I think the I will share it now. Let me get it. So the trainer just reached out to me that his fiber connection is not working at the moment, but he will be fixing it as soon as possible and come back to the session or find some way to the making the session complete. We will try to uh, do something about it. Yes, because it is going to be covering all one because it is we don't want you guys to be filling it every single day. And that is the reason why we have only two of it and day five and day one. So we expect you to be in the session all the days and be actually there. So we don't
Yes,
have
Surya.
any.
Yes, Surya, I'm
Yes.
back. In between, I got some unexpected internet outage. I hope I'm audible.
Yes. No worries.
Yeah. So possible like let's take a 5 minutes break and coffee break and come back. Then we'll start. So otherwise, again, we need to take a break. Already, it's been already given a break, or
No, not given a break yet, actually.
yeah. So we'll take a 5 minutes break. Then we'll go for the vNet creation and assigning an IP address. Okay. So let's take 5 minutes break. And before that, I think it looked like Surag was discussing something. Sorry, I interrupt you.
So, no worries, no worries. So I will, okay, since it's break time, I will post the questions if we can, are we good to go with it? The questions? Uh,
Yeah, it's
or,
been good. Yeah, let's
okay,
go for that. So I think the live itself, I can able to see how many of them are giving right answers. Okay, so possible
okay,
like the people who is not giving right answer will ask them to send some chocolates.
okay. Okay, then I'll be posting it in our LinkedIn and I will share the links right now.
So apparently I'm uploading Surya this hand DHCP slides on the WhatsApp group also.
Sure.
Yeah,
If there's someone who is not in the WhatsApp group, please to join in. I have shared the LinkedIn post and please to go there and there is a questions and there is options as well. So please look at it and read it well and answer them in the comments. After the session almost ending, we will post the answers as well.
so apparently let's take a 5 minutes break and come back also. So let's take 5 minutes break, and meanwhile you can write post the right answer on the LinkedIn, And after break, we'll go for the vNet creation and Active Directory also. Thank you. 5 minutes break. I hope you're back here. Okay. Um, the same attendance is the same day only. Okay. Now, let me take you into the screen here. We were discussing or about a virtual network configuration here. Right now, you can able to see on the screen, you are able to see something going as virtual network. So the moment when you click on the virtual network, similar like your DHCP, you will be able to getting an option for defining a scope also here. But the term here it's been using something different here that basically knowing as address space here. When you configure a DHCP, the term or a terminology we use is called a scope, where you defined a port and from that port, the IP address is being distributed, right? Similar way here also, you can able to see, you will be able to define a IP address here. Now, the question is been coming here, uh, which IP range you are going to define it here. Can you comment it on in your chat? What is your understanding? Are we going to use a public IP address or a private IP address here? Can you comment it on in the chat? Savani is saying private IP address. Anyone is been agreeing with this point? Yes. So I think almost everyone has been saying that. So the IP address, so that's a very, very important point. If you have a notebook or a OneNote has been available with you, write this important point here. The IP address which you are going to mention to your VNet always is going to be the private IP address. What is the range? It's going to be 10 dot or 192 dot series or 172 dot series here. Now, right now you can able to see here, you are defined an IP address here saying that 10.0.0.0/16 is the IP address you are assigning here. What is the meaning of that? If you go to the 10 raised to 16, 65,536 IP address, you are allowed to distribute it here. See, right now in the bracket, you may be able to see something is written, right? Saying that from this pool, you are allowed to create 65,000. Now, I know you may be having another question. What will happen if someone is been coming 70,000? So then you may have to change your network range here. See, if I'm changing to 15, I can able to go more than that. Now, right now you can able to see, yes. So obviously you may have to agree with Aslam here. You may have to change the network ID portion here. Right now I've been changing it to instead of 16, I've been given is 50. So you can able to see 1,31,072 IP address I can able to distribute. So technically speaking, the IP address is been IP address is been assigned from the address space here. Now, if you go back to the whiteboard, when you do a comparison, DHCP and a cloud and on-premises here, in the DHCP's case, you assign from a scope. Here you assign from a address space. This clear? Okay, let's go back here. Right now, if you can able to see here, 65,000 IP address we can able to assign. Now, bottom you may be able to see something called subnet mask also. Any idea what is the use of a subnet mask? Any idea what is the use of a subnet mask? Okay. Now, subnet mask generally we are using for a isolation purpose. Now, if you take a scenario here, now you joined in a college. In your college, you have 1,000 students. You have 1,000 students we have. Now, if you go to college generally, uh, what college will do? College will do a classification again, right? Basically, they will be isolated using a different classrooms, right? You'll have a different classrooms you have. So one classroom to another classroom, most of the time it's been isolated also. Means one classroom to another classroom, you will not be able to enter it also. If you consider the address space here, we have seen like when you given /16 IP address, we are able to give 65,000 plus IP address here. That means any VM which is created on in a cloud is going to get a IP address from here. So all these computers is going to part of one network. Clear? All computers are part of the one network here. Now the problem we have here, it's like you take a scenario like your domain controller is been connected to this, your guest users is been connected here, your HR database is here, your payslip website is been available here. So there is a chance of a network uh, compromise here. So that's the reason we started making a isolated rooms. I'm just giving a scenario like today has been weekend, right? Possible like after this session, you may go to nearest shopping mall, right? Shopping mall or um, some uh, today's event it's a weekend, so you may go to the nearest shopping mall. You may be able to see all shopping mall may be having one name, right? For example, like shopping mall having a name called X mall, right? But if you go inside that, you may be able to see different branded shops, right? You may be able to see one shop for Nike, one for Adidas, one for mm, another brand. What is another brand? Apple, right? And you may be having grocery shops. You may be having t-shirt shops, right? So, but the shopping mall name may be X, but when you go inside that, you may be having small separate rooms or small separate shops. One room to another room, you cannot enter also, right? So because if you take that, it's been isolated here. Similar way, your IP address is been 65,000 here. Again, based on a department, you can able to isolate each other. That basically it's been done with the help of a subnet mask. I'll show you that practically how this has been coming here also. Now, right now you can able to see a couple of messages on the chat also. Thank you, Ima, for the feedback. Definitely we'll consider for in the future sessions. We are taking this as in a positive way. We'll try to see what we can able to do it on in a sandbox side. Okay, so we'll try. We are taking as this one because last couple of sessions we enabled. We helped the people to create a free account, and people are doing with a free account. Sandbox option definitely is there on our agenda, possible in the upcoming sessions. uh, will give you an option of giving that a pass or a sandbox also. Thank you for that nice feedback. Definitely will take it in a make it in the future sessions. Thank you. Now let's come back to the sessions here. We created a IP address here. Let's go back on the portal. Yeah. So I just given it is a subnet EA here. Okay. Subnet EA here. I just given subnet EA here. So I just given 24. So I given out of 65,000, I reserved 256 IP address saying that 0.0.52 assigned to a subnet A here. So I've been just assigned here and validation has been completed. And I didn't given the resource group name here. There is one pending question I have on resource group. Definitely I'll cover that also. Don't worry. Just given HR network is to yes. I'm just get created here. So this similar like here, how you configured a scope here. The only difference here, you haven't configured an operating system here. Okay, so there's a difference. You may be able to notice it here. Right now you can able to see the deployment is in progress. So right now you can able to see deployment has been completed here. Now, if you go to virtual network here, right now we made a network here or from a cloud administrator point of view, we made a pool here. What is the meaning of that? You made a IP range here. You defined any VM which you are going to create on top of the cloud is going to get an IP address from here. Right now, if you select it here, this has been created where it's been created in the East US region here. So uh, thank you, Suman. Take care, Suman. Yeah, thank you for your active participation also on the session. Please join the WhatsApp group so we can stay connected there also. So take care and happy weekend also. Yeah. Now come to the HR virtual network here. You may be able to notice here the virtual network has been created in a East US data center region. The meaning is any VM or any server which you are going to place inside the East US data center region is going to get IP address from this address space. I repeat, right now you created a virtual network. Where this has been created? This has been created in the East US data center. What is the meaning of that? If you are going to create any servers 2019 or a 2022, the moment when you select a data center region is East to US, automatically this will pick an IP address from that pool. All are clear? If yes, can you just put a like button on the chat? Okay. Now my second question here. If I have created a server in the West US, will I get IP address? No. The reason is been like in West US we don't have any network. It's very simple. Whenever you're configuring a cloud, you think a scenario like uh, you have a two office. One is in a chemistry department, and another one it's been like you have a physics department. In one office you have hub and switch, another office you don't have hub and switch. So the office where you got a network device, there will be able to communicate each other, right? Similar way here also. In case if you have a virtual network or a networking is available, you will be able to communicate each other. Is it clear now? Practically, let's see that. Okay. In case if you're not clear, don't worry. Let's create a VM and see how practically this has been working here. Now, before moving this, let's go back to the whiteboard and let's make our foundation has been strong here. Okay. Now, okay. What is the vNet name we are given? Can you just comment it on the chat? It's given as HR department. What is the range we are given? The 10.0.0.60. Again, what I hope you are not seeing my whiteboard. Sorry for that. I hope you can able to see the whiteboard now. I was writing without sharing the screen. Yeah, I hope you can able to see the whiteboard now. Now, HR department, and this is the network range we are given. Again, we classified this as a this was allowing us to create 65,000 plus IP address. So what we have done, we made it as a small subnet 10.0.0-24. I don't need this 65,000. I've been made as a small chunk of IP address here. Means it's been allowed to create 256 IP address. So that means IP address range is starting from 10.0.0.2 10.0. Up to 255. 10.255 up to 255, 256 IP address I can able to give it here. Now, right now you have a network is been ready. Now, in the next stage, what we are trying to do here is we are going to create a VM here. I'm just going to create a VM1 and we are going to create VM2. Now, in a on-premises scenario, what we have done, we are created a VM. Then we used to go to network connection uh, properties. We used to collect a DORA process, right? Obtain IP address automatically here. But when it is coming on in a cloud, it's going to be little different here. Let's see that how this is being done here. Let's go back to cloud portal again. In between, if you have any question, you can post it on the chat also. Okay. Right now, you may be able to see here. Okay. Now, let's create a VM here. Create. I'm just given VM name is VM1. Now, which data center we are selecting here? We are selecting a data center is East US data center here. Now, if you can able to see here, I've been selected East US data center here. Now, the important point here, it's been coming on in the networking side here. The DHCP has been considering as a networking service on in a cloud. Previously, when you uh, had a discussion on in a on-premises side, we used to install on top of a operating system here, right? So when it is coming on in a hybrid scenario, you need to select it from here. Right now, you can able to see here, the moment when you selected a data center region is East to West. See, you selected a East to West data center. In the networking tab, it's already giving a message. Hey, admin, I found a network here, which has been configured with the 10.0.0.24. See, you already able to see a message here. See, HR, right? Who has been created this? This has been created by you only. Now you have a two options here. One, either you can go ahead with this, or you are allowed to create a new one also. I hope you're getting. For example, like if you're not happy with this, you are allowed to create a new virtual network also. Now, if you select it here, I'm selecting the same one. Here you can able, if in case if you have multiple subnet here, as an admin, you can able to decide uh, your virtual machine needs to be placed under which network. For example, like if you have multiple subnet is been available, you can able to select it here. Subnet A or a subnet B or a HR network, you have option to select it here. You have option to select it here, whether it's been A, B, C, or you can able to select the virtual network here. Uh, Good morning, Mugaji. Generally, it's been uh, considered, it's been like based on the user locations, generally it's been selecting. For example, like if all your resources are from India, no point of keeping region is in other locations. So basically, we'll be selecting the closest region. So we used to make it in a nearest or in a closed geography used to create that. That's the way generally it's been made. Clear? Okay. Now, parallelly, the Suragi has been posted our question on the LinkedIn page also, requesting you to post this. Try to answer that. Okay. That's for a self-evaluation, just to ensure that whatever topic we have been covered has been uh, you learned something just for writing and understanding that. Okay, this is for not criticizing someone or just not for giving showcasing someone. No, this for self-evaluation, and because last 4 days you spend your time, at least end of the session you need to understand you learn something. So for that self-evaluation you can use that question. Okay, so I'm giving a handout also for that. So self-study, the complete 2019 and 2022 handout also will be getting end of this session. Now let's come back here. I will just selected virtual machine here. I selected review and created here also. Let's wait it here. So the quick assessment parallel you can able to complete. We made a simple question. Okay, initially uh, we thought of making some case studies, but here we made a simple questions. Next session will make a more complex and scenario based questions. So right now the VM validation or VM creation is progress rate here. Right now you can able to see here, we are getting a notification on in the chat here. Um, Muftans is asking a question here. What is the filter option is been subnet A and basically Hussein, um, you maybe notice like when you create a address space, you are uh, allowed to create up to 65,000 IP address, right? You got a address range here. From there, you are making again a isolation. For example, like if you created a multiple computers or um, multiple subnets, uh, that kind of a situation, you can able to use that one. For example, like if you created subnet A, B, C, when it is coming in a real-time scenario, you may be having option of HR, finance, market, this kind of option. We used to get it here. Right now for a lab, I have been given as a subnet A and B. But when you go back to your office, when you practically, if you're doing on in a customer places, you may be able to give a different department or a client or a project name there. So, so that's in kind of a situation. You'll be able to select that particular chunk from there. Now, right now you can able to see the VM creation has been completed here. See here, there is a virtual machine has been created here. That's called VM1 here. VM1 is been created here. Now, if you go to this VM1, you may be observed by default this got a public IP address. See, this public IP address has been not defined by us. This has been defined by the Microsoft 20 dot series here. But the bottom one, that's called the private IP address. From where this is receiving, you may be able to see here. Right now, this VM got an IP address automatically from where? Got from here vNet, right? Previously, we were getting this IP address from a DHCP. Right now, you can able to see this IP address is being got from which pool? vNet. Right now, you can able to see here. The computer one got an IP address from here. What is the IP address you got? 10.0.0.4. Now, let's create another computer also here. Let's create computer B here. There is a reason behind that. Okay, let me create computer B also. Let's create computer B here. Same location, VM2 I'm just selecting. Don't worry about uh, all these stuffs. I'm just selecting the same HR department, same subnet. I'm just giving review and create it also. Let's create the VM2 also. Right now, validation is in progress. Right now, the deployment of VM2 also is in progress. Let's wait. You can able to see VM2 also it's been created here. Now you can able to see, you can just go to the VM properties, VM2. You may be able to see here, VM2 is got 10.0.0.5 here. I hope you are able to follow this. So you may be able to see here, VM2, it's got 10.0.5 here. So you may be getting a question here. We have created VM1 and VM2 and IP address is got from this address port. All are clear about this? If yes, can you comment it on the chat? This concept has been clear. Okay, then I have a question for you. Okay, thank you. Now I have a question here. We are created IP address from 0 to 255, but you may be observed the first computer got IP address 4, second computer is got IP address 5 also. When we had a discussion about a DHCP, when you defined a scope 10.0.0.1 to 0.10, what was the first computer got? It's got 1, then 2, 3, and in case if there is an exclusion or a reservation, then only the IP address is been excluded or reserved here, right? But right now, I haven't configured any exclusion or haven't configured any reservation. What happened to IP address? There is a few IP addresses been missing here, right? I'm not sure how many of them have noticed that. See, the first IP address is given 4, second IP address is 5. What about 10.0.0, 10.0.0.1, 2? What happened to this 4 IP address? Any idea? This basically known as reserved IP address in a cloud. This will be used for network ID. This has been basically using for gateway. This is basically reserved for a DNS. So whenever you're configuring any IP address on in a cloud, by default this is being reserved in a cloud side. Okay, so if you can able to see here, the 0 will be used for a network address, and 1, 2, 3, 1 is being using for a gateway, 2 and 3 will be used for DNS. So the first client is going to get an IP address from 4 onwards only. Clear? So you'll be getting IP address like this only. So this is the way the IP address, or it's been generally configured in a cloud scenario. So IP address generally it's been configured with the help of a vNet here. So the whole discussion was around how IP address is being configured on in a on-premises, and how IP address is being configured on in a cloud scenarios. I hope it's been clear now. Any questions from anyone? Okay. Now, if you are clear with about this topic, we'll go to the DNS part. How DNS can be configured, and what are the options we have, um, how it's been different on a on-premises, and how this has been different on in a cloud also. If you're good with the DHCP concept, we can able to move to the cloud side. We can move to the DNS side. Any questions on a DHCP side? Okay. Now let's move to the next topic called DNS. So next topic is called DNS, called domain name system. It's called DNS. Before that, I forgot to add one more point on DHCP also. Remember port number 67 and 68 also. There are some situation if your DHCP is not working, in case if it is a block in a uh, if, in case if there is a communication is been not happening, you may have to check the port number also. By default, DHCP has been taking port number 67 and 68 also. You can bookmark it in your notebook or a wetpad when it is coming on a complex network where even your ICMP or even pingers has been continuously blocked. That kind of a situation, even DHCP communication also may be blocked. So ensure that these two port number you are remembering, port number 67 and 68 also. Okay. Uh, Janada possible. There are a lot of website are nowadays is been available that will help us to remember this CADR block, and help us to understand a subnet and all. So there's a lot of portal links are available. Possible end of the session, Janata, possible share you the CADR and subnet calculation links portals. That will be easy for you to get this IP details rather than you are remembering this one. Nowadays we are using that. It's a lot of links are available which we can able to use it that. Previously we used to calculate with Excels, and then even when I started my networking this one, I used to write in a notebook and write it, calculate the subnet mask. Now the situation is got changed. I already answered LinkedIn and my name is Anuj, but profile there is Anuj Rise. Yeah, noted Anuj. We'll do that. Yeah. So we'll do one thing before moving to a DNS. Uh, we'll take a break. We'll take a coffee break, not coffee break. We'll take a 7 minutes break and we'll come back. Then we'll go for a DNS and Active Directory portion. Okay. Thank you. Let's take a small break. Let me put a clock also here. So it's easy for us to come back. Just give me. Let me put a clock also here. So how many minutes break you want? So it's been saying 10 minutes. Okay, so let's put a 10 minutes break and come back here. Okay. Yeah. 15 minutes been a bit high, suggestion. So after the after next break, we'll take a 15 minutes break. Okay. Thank you. I hope you are back. Uh, yeah, definitely we'll be giving you a soft copy of Windows 2019 and all the slides and handout also will be getting. Okay, now let's go to the next topic called DNS. All of us are already heard about a concept called DNS or a name resolution, right? What is the use of a DNS in area? Basically, it's been using for a name resolution, right? Right now, we have learned about how to assign an IP address here, right? Now, what is the use of a DNS? IP to name. Okay. So the reason has been very simple. Remembering a number for human being has been very difficult, right? If someone has been asking, tell me the IP address of a google.com, are we able to write it here? Right? We don't know, right? Because whenever you want to search something, we used to just type google.com. And if you want to type facebook.com, we just go to facebook.com. We are not typing um, IP address of facebook.com or a google.com, right? So basically, if you take the entire infrastructure, it's been working with the help of a IP address. Now, we understood there is a millions of IP address and using in your network and even in your network also we are using a number of IP address here. So remembering this is going to be a tough job here. Now for avoiding this, we started using a concept called DNS. That's called domain name system. There are two ways you can able to, yes, that right now you got from Google, right? But you may be not remember able to remember Anuj, right? If someone is now, if I'm asking you to type facebook.com, every time you may have to go and check it this one, right? But if you take a system here, we need some service which will allow automatically you to convert this one. Basically it's known as name resolution or mapping here. So that's been provided by a service called DNS. uh, there are two ways name resolution will happen. One is known as name to IP. Second one is been IP to name also. One is been knowing as, yes, it's been very difficult to memorize the number than a letter here. So there are two ways it's been going to happen here. One is called name to IP and second one is been like IP to name also. In case someone has been typing IP also, it will convert into name also. Both the way it's been done with the help of a service called DNS. Now, let me share a screen here. Let me take you to a couple of basic topics, then I'll show you how this has been configured on in a cloud and in an on-premises scenario also. So we'll be considering both the points here. So name DNS is the solution generally we are using for uh, conversions here. So remembering a name is going to be difficult for us. So it will be provided a distributed way of representing or distributed way of mapping a IP address. Now, this will have a structure is been available here. Always this been represented with a root domain. For example, like if you type a google.com, generally this used to have something like www.google.com. There is a dot also available, but we are not using this. If any query has been coming, always it's been going here. That basically knowing say kept in a root domain. So across the globe, you have a 13 root servers are available in each geography. Depends upon which geography you've been connected. Nearest root server, this will be connected. So this has been again, it's been domains has been organized in a different um, category. You can able to see here, like it's been configured as a .com or a .org. You may be able to see like .in dot. There are different domain based on the levels you can able to configure. Now, if you take your organization, in your organization, your domain name may be like something like a apple.com. Any computer who has been part of that may be added like something like this, vm1.apple.com. So if you see this name, if you're seeing this name, you will be able to identify this computer has been part of so and so domain here. Like a VM1 is the computer name and apple.com is the domain name. So it's been part of a com domain here. So this basically is known as um, FQDN. So if you are seeing any name like this, for example, like if you see here a name like this, right? This basically known as a FQDN. FQDN means that fully qualified domain name. So from the name itself, you will be able to identify that computer is been part of which domain. So that's basically known as fully qualified domain name here. Now, rather than just going on in a history of this, uh, if you take a DNS structure, or if you uh, uh, consider the how the infrastructure is been used for a DNS, similar like your DHCP. In case if you want to use a DNS database, there are two scenario you have coming here. One, it's been like on premises also it's been coming. You have a cloud scenario also it's been coming here. When it is coming on in a on premises scenario, you if you want to configure a DNS, always you need to install DNS service on the server. For example, like if you want to make any server as a DNS server here, for example, like if I need to make this server is a DNS server on top of this DNS server or this top of the operating system, similar like your DHCP, you need to install DNS service here. You need to install DNS service. Now, once the DNS um, service is been installed, there will be a database is being created. There will be DNS database will be created here. Now, in a DHCP case also, you will notice the moment you install a DHCP, there is a DHCP database is being created. What was that DHCP database was doing? It was holding the complete information about IP address here. Now, DNS database will be not holding information about IP address. Uh, Additional to that, this will be holding the information about that computer or a device and the IP details about that and the computer name of that. All that details will be it's been saved inside a database. How this is being saved? This has been saved in the form of something called resource records. It's been saved in the form of a resource record. I'll show you that what is a resource record here. Don't worry about that. We'll install a DNS also here. Now, if any computer has been asking a connection here, it will be resolving with the help of a resource record here. So let's install a DNS server. Then we'll go for a couple of components like a DNS server, a resource record, and we'll see what is DNS query and all these points here. Right now, end of this session, at least you can, if you can able to understand, DNS is the service using for a name resolution. Is that point has been clear? Okay. Now, when it is coming on in a cloud kind of a scenario here, DNS can be configured. In an on-premises scenario, you already familiar how DNS is being configured. It's been configured on a local DNS server. How this has been configured? You will take a server operating system. On top of the server on the top of the server, you will install Windows Server 2019 or a 2022. On top of that, you will install DNS service. On top of that, your DNS database is been coming. On top of that, your resource record is been coming. That is a on-premises DNS server. Now, when it is coming on in a cloud scenario, cloud is been going to support existing DNS database. In case if you are already having existing databases been available, we can use that. That's one option. Second option, Microsoft is been by default, it's been created a default DNS also. By default, in case if you are, I'm just giving it two scenario here, okay? This scenario in an on-premises one. So in case if you're using a cloud, you can use existing Windows Server 2019 and 2022 Windows Server um, DNS, or in case if you're using any Windows operating system on any operating system on a cloud, you may not going to, you don't need to go to installation of a physical server and install a DNS. By default, you have a Azure DNS has been available. Or the another option is been like something called as public DNS. Another one option is been knowing as private DNS. So these are the four DNS option. It's been supported on in a hybrid scenario. You have a three scenario which you can able to see in front of you. If you are using only on-premises network, then you can go for a complete uh, legacy model of installation of operating system and top of the installation of 2019 DNS and installation. In case if you're using a hybrid scenario, you can use still Windows Server 2019 and installation, or you can able to install a public DNS or a private DNS. Even you can able to install a DNS on a VM also. Clear? So these are the different mode of DNS which you are going to use it in a customer place. I'm pausing here in case if you have any questions here. If you're good, let's go for the installation of a DNS here. I hope you're good. Okay. Now, when we use the external DNS and internal DNS in an organization, for example, like Randy, like for example, like give me a second. Yeah, the external DNS basically coming. For example, like if you want to resolve some IP address from internet, for example, like we hosted a website called www.robin.com. Now, if someone want to access this website from internet, if you're not publish this information on in a external DNS, no one will be able to reach out to inside, because if you publish only in internal, that will be able to identify only in the internal network. If someone needs to understand or able to reach out to uh, this particular website, we have to publish in the external DNS. You may be heard about a companies like a GoDaddy kind of website hosting companies, right? So with the help of that, we need to purchase that. Um, Please repeat hybrid DNS. Um, uh, if I was giving a scenario here, when you go back to your office, uh, you are not going to work it only on a on-premises scenario, right? Now situation is got changed. If you go back to your office, you may be having a cloud piece also, it's been available, right? Cloud network. Azure also is being available in your office. So you may have to work with a existing legacy network plus an cloud infrastructure also. So that kind of a scenario basically is been knowing as a hybrid scenario. That means multiple DNS. Uh, that depends upon the complexity of infrastructure, Ian. There are some situation you may have to work with a multiple DNS or same DNS you may have to connect with both the solution also. I'm just giving first scenario. For example, like in your organization is thinking like already you have a DNS available in your on-premises data center. I don't want to configure another DNS on in a cloud, and all my VM, which has been hosted on in a cloud, is going to use my existing DNS, which has been hosted on in a on-premises. So I'm making a kind of a hybrid connectivity there. I'm going to use the DNS already available on in the existing data center. So this kind of a combination of on-premises and cloud, basically knowing as hybrid network. Now, Devendra has been asking a different question here. While installing Active Directory, um, Devendra, if you want to use an Active Directory, it's mandatory that we need to have a DNS to be available, because Active Directory has been working with the help of a DNS. So the moment I'm just giving a simple scenario here. Today morning, Devendra, you uh, connected or you log in on your laptop. You may be given your username, Devendra, password has been 123. How this has been authenticated? It's been authenticated with the help of Active Directory. How we reach Active Directory? It's been reached with the help of a DNS. The moment when you type the username Devendra, there is a service called netlogon service has been running on the background. With the help of that, this has been connected nearest a DNS service, and it's been asked DNS service, hey DNS service, good morning, I need to attend Robin's session, please connect me to Active Directory. So your DNS has been helped for giving something called SRV record. So SRV record has been provided by your DNS and it's been connected to Active Directory. So for using an Active Directory, we need a DNS service here. So without DNS, you will not be in a position to install Active Directory. Clear now? Um, yes. In case if you want to go for a load balancing, we have options are available there. That depends upon the complexity of that. There is a different zone options. Basically, we used to use that. So we used to use a different options there: primary, secondary, and something called step zone mode. In case if you want to configure that, you can able to go for a primary, secondary, and step zone kind of a modes there. Clear? Is there a mechanism to manage separate DNS server along with the EAD? In a on-premises one, um, is used to work within the same one. We can able to configure in a different servers. We have an option has been available. You may have to point to that. But most of the times in Windows scenario, we used to configure it on in the same server. I have seen few organization, if the complexity has been large, we used to have a separate DNS which has been hosted on a blue cart or a separate product, and Active Directory has been integrated with that also. There are some scenario we have that I have seen, but mostly in Windows scenarios, we used to configure it on an Active Directory and it's on the same server. Even if your server PC does not have DNS, if your server PC does not have DNS, Um, that basically working because the moment when you connect to your laptop, your ISP DNS has been doing the resolving that. That's the reason you are getting an internet. Your ISP has been working a DNS configuration, right? Okay. Now let's see. Right now we understood in a cloud scenario, you may have to, still you have option of using the existing DNS, and you have option for going other mode of operation also here. Now let's try to see two options here. One is been like installation of a DNS on in a VM. VM and on premises is the concept is been same only. Okay. Here I'm just taking a virtual machine. Other one I'm taking a physical machine. That is only difference you have here. Now let's take a VM here. Already we have a VM is been configured here. Let's connect to that. Let's connect to that VM here. Just connecting to a same here. We have a VM is been available here. Let me take a remote desktop to this server. Right now we are taken RDP connection here. Go to server manager here. Add roles. Let me add a role here. Right now the validation is in progress here, so we need to wait. So added a role here. DNS option is being selected. Next, next, install. Right now the installation is been on progress here. Yes, right now you can able to see installation has been completed here. Now, right now you can able to see we have taken a server and there is a DNS service is being installed here. This portion has been clear to everyone. Now the configuration we haven't done anything. Right now you can able to see on the Windows server there is a additional tool has been created here that's called DNS here. So all your DNS it's been going to manage with the help of this administrative tool. You can able to see on the administrative tool there is a DNS uh, console or a DNS management tool is been showing here. In case if you want to access directly, you can able to type it with the help of a command DNS mgmt.msc also. If you type it here directly, this will take you into a console here, right? This kind of a DNS management console. This will take you into able to console here. Right now, if you can able to see here, uh, server has been configured here, and you are able to see a couple of options also here. Something called forward lookup zone and something called reverse lookup zone also here. You can able to see there is something called a reverse lookup zone and forward lookup zone also here. Now, before moving that, you can able to see once the DNS database is or DNS service is been installed, that database will be available inside a place called system root, and inside a system 32, you will be able to see there is a DNS database or DNS folder will be created here. So all your DNS database by default, it's been available inside this folder. Inside a DNS system 32, you will be able to see there is a database folder has been created here. You can able to see there is a folder has been created here. So if you go to DNS search right now, you can able to see it's been created here. Now, if you want to configure any DNS database, uh, we understood DNS has been working with the help of a name resolution kind of a concept here, right? Now, if you take it here, you have an option of uh, name resolution here, both name to IP and IP to name, both option has been available here. So that you need to configure it here. So that you are generally configuring with the help of something called zone, because you are giving a scope or you are able to give, you can able to give, you can able to configure it here. It's called a forward lookup zone, and it's going to able to configure reverse lookup zone also here. So in case if you want configuring forward lookup zone, basically forward lookup zone is been using basically um, working basically from a name to IP mapping. And reverse lookup zone has been always it's been working with the help of a IP to name also, both the ways. So name resolution is not one way; it's been both the ways. It's been happening. If any request is been coming, request generally it's been uh, in a DNS concept basically known as query. It's not a request, not the right word. It's basically known as a DNS query. That basically known as DNS query. If any query has been coming, they will be referring this database, and then it will be doing a name resolution here. Let's see here. Let me create a forward lookup zone here. Let's give a name called apple.com here. I'm just giving a name called apple.com here. Now, previously someone was asking like, is there any kind of a load balancing, or is there any kind of a secondary options we have? The moment when you create a DNS, can be configured in a three mode. One is a primary zone mode. Primary zone mode means the moment when you create in a database, right now we understood all this name resolution is happening with the help of a database. So the database, uh, if you are making any client, or if you're adding or it's been connecting, by default it's making a adding and reading, or writing or adding and removing also, right? Something like it's been writing an information into a database. If you're configuring a primary mode, basically this has been allowing you to write it a database or a data on in a database here. Now, secondary database means that basically this has been liking working like a master and slave mode. For example, like you have a scenario, uh, you have a branch office available, and you don't have any skilled administrator has been available there. Basically, uh, this will be taking all the database or information from the upstream server. Means it will be taking from a primary server, and from there it will be loading all the databases, and based on that, this will be working. So in case if you're having a branch office server, and and you don't need to do any kind of a um, configuration is needed, you don't need to go for any kind of a configuration, then you can able to go for the secondary zone mode. Step zone mode means basically using in case if you have a location where you have a n number of name servers are available, that kind of a situation we used to have a step zone is been generally it's been configured. Very rarely, like if you have a multiple name servers are available, and you need to point from one server to another server, so that kind of a situation we used to go for a step zone server here. Let's create a primary server here. I'm just creating a primary zone here. I'm just giving a name, it's been apple.com. I'm just creating apple.com here. I just created a database here. Now it's been like it's asking like how you want to do update here. Do we need one automatically this needs to be updated records, or do we need to go for creation of manually? There are different update. Dynamic update basically means that how you want to update your database. If any client is been requesting, or if any client is been looking for a name resolution, or if any client is been pointing this is a primary server, do we need to add that record on in a database? How you need to do that updation, so that can be selected from here. Basically, if you take any uh, corporate or in a large network, we will be selecting active directory integrated one only. For a security purpose, we need to ensure that we need to go for a active directory integrated update method only. Don't allow dynamic updates means that this will not allow any resource to be recorded to be added automatically also. Few organizations manually only allowed to create records for a more security purpose. They won't be allow anyone to just go and add any records there. We have a proper change request and proper place will be the, so that kind of a situation we used to go for a uh, don't allow method also. Right now I'm just going for a allow both secure and dynamic mode here. I just created a apple.com here. You can able to see here apple.com here. Let me create a same zone here also. Let me create a primary zone here. IP version 4, it's been 10.0.4. Just created from here. Just created allow secure mode here also. Now DNS been created here. Let me create a DNS here. Now, right now we have a DNS has been configured here. Now, right now you have installed DNS on in a VM1. Now I want all the computers on into this particular network to be used by this DNS. So in that kind of a situation, uh, we need to make a small changes on the cloud network here. If you're going on in a normal on-premises scenario, let me take you on-premises scenario. Now, in a normal on-premises scenario, if you want to add any computer into this DNS, generally how we used to do, we used to go to ncpa.cpl on the Ethernet properties. You may be seeing something called TCP IP version 4. Here we used to give that IP address here, right? We used to give a name like my IP address is 10.0. Then what is the IP address of the DNS server here? So automatically that particular server will be added into that DNS, right? So we used to give, there are some situation in your home, if you want to get an internet, we used to give a Google ID also, right? 8.8.8.8. So always it is used to go and refer into the Google DNS server also here. So now similar way here, in case if you want to configure DNS for your cloud, one option, this on-premises scenario, if you are configuring a DNS, this is the option here. One option is be like obtain IP address automatically. How client will be getting, DHCP will be providing DNS details. So automatically there is a DHCP and DNS integration will happen. There is an option available in DHCP also. So there you can able to integrate your DNS server there. So with the help of that, all the clients who is getting an IP address from a DHCP also will be automatically added here. Now, second option is been here. In a cloud scenario, if you are coming, by default, if you go to a virtual network, you will not be able to point into a local DNS server here. In a cloud scenario, if you want to use a local DNS server, you need to make a small configuration change on the vNet properties. You need to go to vNet properties. You can able to see a vNet properties here. You can able to see something called DNS server here. See, there is an option has been available here called DNS, because by default, in a cloud scenario, uh, Microsoft it's been trying to resolve, or it's used to use its own DNS here. That's the reason if you go to a computer name, host name, if you're checking, you maybe got a different name here, right? If you see here, if you go to host name, if you go to host name here, you may be noticed name may be something different here. Let's give you domain name, you may be able to see something different here. Let's give IP config all. You may be able to see cloud name suffix, maybe you can able to see some, it's not a junk name, some different name you may be able to see here. Now the customer is saying like, I don't need dot on or a cloud app or dot in. Customer is saying like, I need apple.com, some name which is me connecting to my business. So that kind of a situation, you can point your cloud infrastructure into your own local DNS over here. Right now, if you type ns lookup, if you type who is VM2, uh, see, you may be able to get a name here, but domain name you may be able to see is a different here, right? It's be like a VM2 dot, there is some random name you're getting. But when you work in an organization, you may be not interested for this kind of a long names, right? You maybe need like a vm.apple.com or vm.orange.com or something, some name which is been connecting to your business. How this can be able to make it? You need to make it in a VM properties here. You need to point into your local DNS server. You are saying to Microsoft, hey, Microsoft, thank you for your service, but currently I already have a local DNS server is being available with me. Where you will be mentioning this in the vNet properties, if you're going here, there you'll have an option called DNS server here. So here you can able to make it that. You can able to go and configure here 10.0.4 here. So this will help you that all the DNS query has been pointed into your Windows Server 2019 or a 2022, where your DNS service has been hosted. Right now, you made a configuration change on the network. Now, once the network has been made a configuration change, all your requests right now is be going to your Windows Server 2019 or a 2022, which has been hosted here. Now, for making that change, you need to make a small activity also. All the VM currently is being hosted on the network needs to be restarted also. So if you want to make that change, you need to make sure that all the VMs also it's been restarted. You can able to see there is an option to restart. Let's restart that. You can able to see it can be able to restart it here. You can able to see here. You can able to see the server is being rebooted. Now let's me connect to the DNS server first. Let me connect to that server. Right now it's been on a rebooting stage only. So let's you can able to see the public IP address here. Server has been back. Let me connect to that server. Right now I'm connecting to VM1 here. Let me go to DNS server here. This is the VM1 is the server we've been made as a DNS over here. Let's wait. It's been loading. Right now the validation is in progress here. Now let me go to DNS. Go to administrative tool and DNS. Right now, server has been not added here. So the reason it's been like, it's been not pointing to the server here. So I need to make a small change here. I need to ensure that because it was update was being configured in a non-secure and secure mode. It was not allowing to add a record yet. That's the reason it was not allowing any record to be updated yet. So I'm just modified into any servers here. Now let's wait. Let me point this computer also to. Let me point this server into this local server. It's not able to reach out to this server. So let me make this also here. Let's wait a minute. Some situation we may lose a network connectivity here. Let's wait. Parallel, let me reboot this server also. Let me reboot. This got a network weak connectivity. So let me restart the VM. We got a network failure. So let me restart. Let me reconnect the server again. We rebooted. me reconnect to the same server. We were getting some network connectivity issue in the past, so I just rebooted now. So we are connecting to the same server where we have hosted the DNS servers here. So let me connect it here. It's been loading. Right now the server where we have been hosted DNS server has been coming up. You can able to see the server is been loading now. Let's wait a minute because the profile is been validating. So you can able to see. Let's go to DNS mgmt.msc here. Now, right now you can able to see here. Still our DNS is been not associated yet. Just give me a second. Let's go to virtual network. Something went wrong here. Let me check it. Configuration has been properly. We have been configured. We have been pointed into 10.0.0.4. Let me check that server IP address also. Is it an IP address issue? I need to just check it because this will not 10.0.0. So let me disable a firewall also. Maybe firewall may be blocking our entry here. Let me block firewall also here. There's a firewall has been enabled here. Maybe the firewall has been not allowing traffic to be updated here. So let me disable a firewall here. Domestic firewall off. Private network. Let me disable that as well. So, public firewall. Let me disable. Okay. We are given right IP address, everything, but record is being not updated. So we're just checking. We are trying to troubleshoot that. Apple.com's Accumo, right? And DNS also we've been configured custom 10.0.0.4. We just given right name only. Let's restart once again. So Both the server is once again, I'm just restarting because record is been not updated here. In case if it is not updated, manually we'll try for updating that. Look like some communication issue. I suspect that's a firewall issue. I mean, disable that. So let's try after that. Let's wait. So just rebooting this. Just rebooted the VM here. Let's wait. Let's reconnect to that VM again. So there's some situations, this kind of a network connectivity, we used to face it in this hybrid connectivities. Either firewall may be blocking or association may be not connected properly. So let's wait here. So hope this will solve the issue. In case if it is not done, I'll try for adding manually here. Let's reconnect it here. Now still it's been not added here. Look like some issue here. So I'll do one thing. Let me add it manually here. Now there are two ways we used to able to add a records here. One, it's been like the moment when you select or a point your DNS details on a vNet properties, automatically that resource information will go and update it here. That's one option. Second option, in a large organizations where we need more security, we used to handle it manually also. For example, like if I need to add any records here, I'll add it here like something like this. Here, each record will be represented uh, with a name, like A stands for a IP version 4 record. If you're seeing MX is for a mail exchange server. In case if you're seeing SRV, that basically using for a service locator. For example, like if you have a active directory available in the network, that basically it's been located with the help of a SRV record here. For example, like if I need to add a VM here, we used to add with the help of a new host here. For example, like I need to add a VM2, I used to give VM2, then we used to map that particular IP address here. Right now you can able to see 10.0.0.5. and we've been added a pointer also. Pointer means that reverse lookup zone also will be added here. So right now you can able to see once the database is been created, how this has been maintaining the information. It's been maintaining with the help of something called records here. Record is nothing, it's an entry. Right now you can able to see VM2 is the computer name. This has been mapped to a computer having an IP address 10.0.0.5. So if anyone has been trying to connect it, uh, something like if name resolution, generally we are checking with the help of a um, ns lookup command. Okay, so if you type it here, if someone has been trying like asking who is been 10.0.5, this will refer DNS database. It will go and refer DNS database and it will give this is the server hosting a name 10.0.0.5 with a IP address uh, or a server name VM2 here, VM2 dot VM2 dot apple.com. Clear? Now, if you are able to see here, you can able to see this is VM2 dot apple.com here. So this is the way your DNS has been working. So if anyone has been connecting, this will be referring the data DNS database. How DNS will be able to understand this? This has been holding a database. In a database, how the record has been mapped? It's been mapped with the help of a resource record here. So there are many records we can able to see it on in a DNS side. If you take a DNS side, these are the few resource record generally we are using. Wherever you are saying SOA, that basically known as start of authority. Basically, this has been coming to a picture. I was discussing about a term called primary zone and a secondary zone, right? The moment when you create a DNS server, you may be seeing an option like a primary and a secondary zone. So SOA record generally it's been coming. The moment when you create a DNS database, there is a number has been created automatically. You may be able to see in the bracket, right? In the first itself, you may be able to see something called SOA, right? There is a number you can able to see here. Right now, the number is been 1 here. For example, like if you deleted this also, right now you can able to see this number is been keep on changing. For example, like let me refresh here. You can able to see the number is being changed into 2 or a 3 here. See, number is being changed here. For example, so if you go to a scenario, you have a two primary servers here. You have a two servers, two DNS server, primary, and second one is been secondary. Now, how this is been synchronizing each other? This always it's been synchronizing with the help of a SOA number. Right now, you may be able to see in your database, you have a SOA number is been noticed. The number is been 1. So this number will be always keep on adding. It's not reducing. Okay, always if any changes if you're happening on in the system, that number will be keep on adding. Whether you add or a delete anything on the DNS database, the number will be keep on changing. So your primary server and secondary server will communicate through zone transfer. So this will always there will be connectivity. So always your secondary server and primary server will be checking each other SOA number. Secondary server will ask, hey primary server, tell me your SOA number. So primary server will tell, hey my SOA number is been 3, and secondary server will tell my SOA number is been 1. So they will understand, yes, there is some change happened on the primary database server. So what they will do, they will do a zone transfer. So this is the way the primary and secondary server zone transfer is generally happening on in the uh, DNS scenarios. Now, SOA number is one of the commonly used records which you can able to see on in a cloud, not in a cloud, in a DNS. Now, other records which you can able to see, it's called MX record. In case if you are configuring any Exchange server, you can able to see MX record. If there is any uh, uh, domain controller is been available, that domain controller generally it's been located with the help of a SRV records. You have a SRV record has been available with the help of SRV record. This has been communicated, and in case if you have any other name server is been available in the organization, that generally it's been available with the help of a it's been represented with the help of a name records. And if there is any server is been configured with the IP version 6 format, that generally it's been represented with the AAA, that is the record name you can able to see here. Janet is asking like, can you repeat it? Yeah, sure. I was saying about SOA number. Janet, I was saying, in case if you have a multiple um, server is being hosted in your infrastructure, how this replication will happen? Now system needs to understand there is a changes happened on in the database, right? So that generally it's been captured with the help of a SOA number. So SOA number is been changing if you are making any modification on in the DNS database. So with the help of that, this number will be synchronize each other. And if there is any change, with the help of a process called zone transfer from the primary to secondary, the database will be replicated. Clear? Any questions? If you're good, can you just comment it on in the chat? And if you want me to repeat it, happy to do that. Okay. Now, so this is the way generally the on-premises um, DNS server is being configured. But when it is coming on in a cloud, I'll show you the how it's been configured here. Let me take into a cloud portal. I hope you can able to see the cloud portal now. By default in a cloud, you don't need to go for a separate DNS server option here. By default, if you take any virtual network, DNS has been configured here. If you go to DNS here, by default, Azure is having default option is being available here. So you have option of by default, Azure default option is been available here. But generally, this will be giving you a dot cloud app dot kind of a name. Generally, it's been giving. Now, if you're not interested for that, you have an option for configuring private DNS zone also. Something called a private DNS zone. How generally or whatever you're configured on in a on-premises way, similar way you can able to configure here also. You don't need any physical server here. For example, like if you want to configure orange.com, previously you configured apple.com, right? Similar way, if you want to configure, you can able to configure here also. You don't need any server here. Directly you can able to configure here. There is no limitation, Ian. You're having you can connect a number of connections here. There is no limitation for number of VMs you can able to see. If you're asking the number of the Azure VM, if you want to try to create it, is that the question? You can have a number of connection if only the connection point. If your question is me like number of the VM which we can able to create, uh, that depends upon the subscription. You can have a number of connections on it to the client. Now, if you want to see how many VM I can able to create on in a Azure, that you need to go to a subscription. You have option called subscription. In the subscription, Ian, you can able to see something called quota. You can be able to go to an option called quota. In the subscription tab, select the particular subscription. There you can able to see something called usage and quota. From here, you can able to see number of VM which you can able to create on in a create in each locations. It's been depends upon a region specific. Always it depends upon the subscription specific also. Now we are getting another questions on the chat. I have an experience. DNS record automatically create when PCs join a domain time without PC join to. Uh, Randy, there may be two reasons there. One option has been like uh, in your scenario, you may be having a how IP addresses you will be received. Have you received from a DHCP? If you receive from a DHCP, in the DHCP, there is an option of integrating with the DNS. If you go to DHCP properties, there you will have option of integrate with the DNS. So the moment any IP address, if you distribute it from a DHCP, automatically this will be added a record in your DNS database. So that may be the one reason. You don't need to add into a domain. Right now, if you take any server here, we haven't created any active directory here. Directly, this has been added into a DNS here. So for configuring a DNS, active directory has been not mandatory, but configuring active directory, DNS has been mandatory. Clear? Is there any write back Azure to AD sync possibility for a DNS zone? No, Mukherjee. Um, write back on a DNS is being not done by the active directory. Right, but DNS database is always is been synchronized only with DNS to DNS only. Now, in case if you're looking for active directory synchronization, basically, I hope your question may be related to a on-premises to cloud active directory synchronization. That basically done with the help of a different concept called AD Connect. So with the help of AD Connect, that synchronization is been happening. AD Connect or active directory synchronization is not going to do anything on in the DNS database here. So that's only a reference point. So if any synchronization is happening on Active Directory, that will be happening either between on-premises to cloud or on-premises DC to ADC only. Okay. So I'll be sharing this DNS handout that will be giving a complete step-by-step procedure and whatever records and all the database on transit, all that point is being covered here. And the DHCP handout and complete module I'll try to disk management, all that handout, I'll be sharing that. Surag, if you're there, possible we can upload it on in the Discord channel also on that PDF document.
Sure.
So I'll upload it on the WhatsApp group and we'll upload it on the Discord also in case if anyone is been not using WhatsApp also can able to make use of that. So any questions on a DNS side? Uh, any general questions or any doubt if you have, we can have a discussion. If you're good, requesting to post it on in the chat. Yeah. And Surag, you want to give any feedback form or something? Or already it's been shared?
Well, it was shared. I will share once more.
Yeah. So, so team, we tried for giving you some insights about 2022 and 2019. Tried for making a comparison of cloud and on-premises also. We hope this session has been useful. It's an ocean. It's not possible to cover all 2022 topic on in a week. Yeah. So we'll have a similar kind of session. Yeah. So in case if you have any doubts, still I'm available to answer it and still be available on a WhatsApp group also. We are not ending events here. We're just pausing here because we have a time limitation for each event. So we have to put a full stop here for this week, and next week we have a different programs. So keep on attending the program from our organization. So different topics we are taking on each week. So if you have any questions on that, happy to discuss here today. Surag, over to you.
Great. So, thank you all for joining for these 5 days. It was great to have you guys with us, and I hope, as Robin said, I hope it
Okay,
helped
so
you
I think
guys to be learning.
Surag, I think I have one pending question for him. Resource
Mhm.
group, it's been like, yeah. So there is one question is been we left out to answer. There's a what is a resource group? Uh, Let me take you to a portal here. Uh, if the you maybe notice here, the moment when you create a resource group here, or the moment when you create a resource here, you maybe notice like along with your resource, many dependent resources also it's been created. For example, like when you create a VM, along with your VM, you have a disk is been created, you have a NSD is been created, you have a network component is been created. Now, instead of keeping everything on in a uh, single box, what Microsoft has been done, this has been aligned in a different logical container. It's been easy for us to do administration. I'm just giving a scenario like today has been weekend. Now all of us may go to market and we'll purchase groceries, we'll purchase noodles, then fruits, everything, right? Once you back to home, what first action we'll be doing? We'll be taking a separate boxes, right? Your rice may be in one box, dal may be in another box, your wheat powder may be in another box, right? Why we are putting it on a different box? It's been easy for you to manage, right? Similar way here also, when you configure a multiple resource on in a cloud, for a easy management, you will be putting in a logical container. That's called resource group. For example, like if you take a resource group here, now cloud batch is a one logical container. Now you can able to see all resource who is been part of that cloud batch, you can able to see here. So you put all this uh, resource on in a one logical container here. So basically, if you're taking a resource group, it's using for a management purpose, and this technically acting like a logical container here. Clear? I hope it's been clear now. Yeah. So thank you. Over to you, Surak. That was a long pending question.
No worries. So, I think there is nothing left. I hope you have filled the attendance form, and the certificate will be sent on Monday. I would like to remind that we have a few issue with the email, so we will send it on Monday, and Monday we'll be having a follow-up email with all the details and the resources in it, and we'll be sharing it in the communities as well. So thank you all to be in the 5 days training session, and we have more coming up in the future. We have more in the next week as well. We will surely get more trainings on the interested on demand trainings as well. So yeah, I hope you guys will be actively in the session on in the community as well. And yeah, hope to see you guys in the upcoming sessions. Thank you.
Thank you all. Happy weekend. Bye.
Happy weekend. Bye.